In this video I'll show you how to extract data from the FaceComp output file used for problem 1 and paste that into Excel, and how to create plots in Excel 2010. So we have the FaceComp output file. It looks like this, and the first data that we're interested in is this second table, and really only interested in the data between the temperature and the vapor pressure. So to select only that part of the table, I'm using the Alt key and holding that in while selecting. So then you'll end up with something like this, and copy that, and we go back to Excel and paste it in. And as you can see, the data is now compressed into one column, and we'd like to separate this out into 4 columns for the different datas. So the way to do that is to go to the data banner on the top and click text to column while the data is selected down in the sheet. And then you get this window, and here you need to select delimited and then click next. And in the FaceComp file we don't have tabs, but there are only spaces to separate the data, so we unselect tab and click space and click finished. And as you can see, the data has now been divided into these 4 columns. So the next part is to try to clean up a bit, delete that part and try to make it a bit more presentable. We'll center align the headings, and we don't really need the temperature in Fahrenheit, so that one I'll delete. Delete this part too. Try to clean up a bit. Then we need the inverse of the temperature, so I'll insert a new column here to do the inverse. To switch keyboards, 1 divided by T, be 1 over Kelvin is the unit, and then I'll just type in the equation for the first cell. It's 1 divided by the temperature, and then to copy this down for all the different data points, then you just point over the square box at the lower right corner and double click, and then it's automatically copied down. Try to clean up a bit more here. This the unit here is kilopascal. Center align the top row here too, like this. It's starting to look a bit more okay. It's always important to note the units for everything so that you know what you're working with. We also need to have the vapor pressure in bars, so we'll make a new column for that. And you can, if you want to copy, like the header here, I want to copy that, and to do that you just select the rows next to it and click Control and R to copy right. Do the same here, and this will be in bar. Then we do the conversion divided by 100, and then to do the calculation all the way down for all the cells, we right click the corner, double click the corner again, like this. So that's all the data we need for the first couple of plots we're going to be making. And to insert a plot into Excel, you go to the Insert banner and click Scatter Plot, and I usually use this first type. So then you get a messy looking plot like this, and it's usually a good idea to keep the plots on separate sheets in Excel to make things cleaner. And to move this plot into a separate sheet, you just right click anywhere, or not anywhere, on kind of the outer edge, and you select Move Chart. And then you have to specify a new sheet, and you have to give it a name, and click OK. So there we have the new sheet, and the first thing you need to do is to get the correct data into the plot. And here we're going to plot vapor pressure versus temperature. So to add data series to the plot, you right click and select data. And Excel, so nice to put all this junk data in for us that we don't need, so just remove all these series here. And then once those are all gone, click Add to get a new series. You give it a name that will appear on the legend. And then the first thing we'll do is to select the data for the x-axis by clicking this button here. And then you need to move into the data sheet that we created previously and find the correct temperature here that we want on the x-axis in Kelvin. And then you just click, I normally click the first cell and then hold in Shift and Control and then press the down arrow to select everything. And then you can just press this button here to let you know that it's finished. And then you do the same for the y-axis. Here we would like to have the vapor pressure in bars. We do the same, Control Shift to select everything, and either enter or click the button to be finished. So that's that, and then we click OK. And OK once more. So you can see we have the data in here now. And this plot looks pretty messy still. And the first thing we want to do is to just select everything and increase the font size to make it more readable. So then you go to the Home banner, and here you can see the font options, and let's use size 16 for everything. The next thing we need to do is to create some grid lines and take away the title. We don't really need that. And to do those kind of things, you need to click on the plot somewhere and then go to the layout banner that appears when the plot is selected. And here you have all the different layout options for the plot. So first of all, we can put in some vertical grid lines. Just like to have the major grid lines. So that's that. And then we would like to get rid of the title. so we'll select none for that. And then we'd like to have axis titles to see what we're actually plotting. So first I'll add the horizontal axis title, and this is the temperature in Kelvin. Like that. And then we'll do the same for the y-axis, the vertical axis. Select rotated title, that's usually what appears best on the screen. And this is the vapor pressure. In bars. Okay, and then on the y-axis we have this scientific annotation, and that's not really necessary when the maximum is 250, so we'll try to change that into a normal number. And the way you do that is to select the axis and right click, and then go down to Format Axis. And here you go down to the number tab, and you can select number instead of scientific. And there's also no need to have 2 decimal points or places here, so we'll change that to 0. And then you see the legend is now on the outside of the plot, and it's probably nice to have that inside the plot itself. So to do that, you have to be on the layout banner again, and click on legend, and select one of these overlay options. For instance, overlay legend at right, then it will put it inside the plot. Then we can move it around and place it where we'd like it to be. Also add border around legend to make it more visible, and you see if it's moved over one of the grid lines, it's kind of a bit messy, so we'll give it a background color too. And you do that by right clicking again and select Format Legend. And so first of all we can go and change the fill to be solid and white, and then you can go and change the border style to have let's see, no, you need to go to border color and select solid line, and then make it black. Okay, and then the last thing to do is to make the data series a bit nicer. I'd like to have a line and maybe some other markers that than are currently used. So there are 2 ways to select a data series. You could either just click it on the plot and right click to do the formatting, or you could do it up on the top left here. You could choose the series from this drop down menu and click Format Selection. Sometimes it might be difficult to actually click on the series itself on the plot if you have multiple data series. So the first thing to reformat this is to select a different marker, use the round ones, and then the next thing is to select the marker filling. I'd like to have that white, so then you select solid fill and it automatically gives you white there, and then I'd like to have a line going through each of the markers. So you select solid line, and black is fine. The next thing is the line style. Here we can make it a bit wider. And now it is starting to look okay. So this is, oh, one thing I forgot, the marker line color should also be black. So go back and redo that. That you do at the marker line color tab. And we select solid line and black. Now it looks better. And one final thing, you can see there's border around the plot, and if you paste this into Word or anything else, then that might look a bit strange, so we'll try to remove that. And you do that by right clicking the edges and select Format Chart Area, and there you have a tab called Border Color. You click that and select No Line. So that's the final first plot. And now we have created this nice plot, and we'd like to have another plot of the vapor pressure versus the inverse temperature. And since all this formatting is kind of already done, the easiest way to create a new plot is to make a copy of the current plot, so you don't have to do everything from scratch. And you do that by right clicking on the plot tab down at the bottom, and then you get the option to move or copy. So then you just select where you would like to copy the plot, and you have to click create a copy, otherwise it'll just be moved and you won't create a duplicate. So click OK, and you see you have two plots there now. Okay, so then we need to redo this data series to be a plot of, or to be vapor pressure versus the inverse of temperature. So we can do that by right clicking somewhere on the plot and click select data again. And here we can add new data series, but in this case the most convenient thing to do is just to go in and edit the current series and change the X data. So do that by going into the X series values box, clicking this button, and then we can select 1 over T instead by Shift and Control clicking, and then press enter. And OK. So now we have 1 over vapor pressure versus 1 over temperature. And first of all, we need to change the title of the axis to inverse temperature. And that has the unit of 1 over Kelvin. And this is much easier to see on a logarithmic scale. So we'll change that for both X and Y. We'll start with the X-axis, then you just right-click the axis and select Format Axis. And you click Logarithmic Scale to make it logarithmic. And it doesn't look very nice now, so we need to go in and change the maximum and minimum values a bit. We'll set the minimum to 10 to the power of minus 20, and then the maximum to 100. and you can see the numbers are not looking very nice, so we need to go back and change the formatting of the numbers on the axis by going to the number tab and use general. And I think that's probably it. And you can see, oh, one thing I forgot. You can see now that the x-axis crosses at 1 or something, and that's not very nice, so we'd like to move that down to the very bottom. So we'll go into the format axis again, and you have this box where you can control where the horizontal axis crosses the vertical axis, and we'll just select 1e minus 20 to get it at the bottom. And you can see it moves down. And now the axis title is kind of overlapped by some of the values on the axis, so you probably need to do a bit of resizing to get that looking better. Kind of a bug in Excel, I guess. That we did some of the scaling on the plot, so we probably need to go in and have a look at that, to the format axis again, and we'll change the major unit to 100 to make it a bit nicer. Okay, so then we have to do the same for to redo the scaling on the x-axis to take advantage of the space here. We'll format that and select the maximum to 0.01. And now it looks a bit better. One last thing we can do is to add a straight line to the plot to compare the data with the straight line. You can do that by going into the layout banner, and you have this shapes icon that you can click to put shapes into the plot. You'll select a straight line, and you just click and drag it where you'd like it to stop, and there you get the line. And yeah, it's kind of blue and thin, so we'll try to redo the formatting on this, and you do that the same way as for the series. You just right click and select format object at the bottom, and here you can go in and change the color of the line, and you can change the thickness, and you can change the dash type of the line. So now it looks a bit better. Okay, so those are the two plots I want to make from the data we pasted in from FaceComp. So I'd like to continue with getting some new data from that same FaceComp file, and put that into a new sheet. Since we already have this sheet with the formatting and everything that we'd like, so we can copy these two and use the formatting for the second data set we're going to copy in. I'll first rename this plot to make things a bit clearer. And we can copy it by doing exactly the same as we did for the plot. You just right click and press move or copy, you select where you'd like to place it, and you select create a copy, click OK, and then you have a copy of that sheet. And then you can just delete this data that we already have here, and we can go in to the FaceComp file again and find the second table that you'd like to include, and here you'd like to have the temperatures, the pressure, the liquid volumes, and gas volumes. So we select this the same way as we did for the first table using the Alt key, and I'll just take the data itself. I won't take the headers themselves, so you do like that, and Control copy to copy, go back to Excel and paste it in. And you can see now Excel figured out by itself how to create separate columns from this data, and that's because we've already done the procedure once, so then Excel knows how to do it. And we need to redo the headings here. This is the temperature in Celsius, and this is the PV in bar. This is the, I'll just delete all these old headers. This is the liquid volume, and this is the vapor volume. Okay, so there we have data. This vapor volume I'd like to format a bit differently. It doesn't look very clean the way it is now. So just select that data, and to change the number formatting, you click this arrow besides the number, and then you get this normal formatting window up, and I think we can select just normal number. That will be a bit nicer. Okay, so then I'd like to create a plot of the volume versus pressure, and again we'll copy one of these previous plots to avoid having to redo all the formatting. So we'll just right click and move or copy. We'll put that before the sheet with the data that we're currently working on, and click create to copy. Okay, so then we have that new plot, and I'll first of all change these titles to be correct for the plot we're creating now. So this will be the volume. And then I'll delete this line we created previously, and you can start going in to add the data. And then you right click and click select data, and we don't need the old data we had anymore, so we'll remove this series, and then we'll start adding the new data. We're clicking add and typing in the series name. We'll do the liquid first. So to get the X data, you click here again, and move into the new data sheet. Select the liquid volumes for the x-axis and the pressures for the y-axis. Click OK. So that's the first series, and then you need to add the vapor curve 2. Click Add to add a new series. And then we go in and select the volumes for the vapor for the x-axis and the pressures for the y-axis. And then the final curve data series we'd like to add is the saturated curve. So I'll click Add and give it a name. And these are basically going and add the x values, and these are basically the 2 points from here to here, transition between liquid and vapor. So we'll go in and control select these 2 points by clicking control or holding in control and clicking the 2 points. Click enter. Then do the same for the y values, these 2 points. You can just select them normally. Click OK. So then we have the 3 series we'd like to have in this plot, and we've previously set the maximum and minimum values for the x and y axis a bit strangely, so nothing is plotted yet, so we'll have to go in and change the axis. First do the y axis, right clicking, format axis, and we'll have it plotting from showing from 0.01 to 1000. Still logarithmic. I think we can change this back to the major unit, back to automatic, and then we can go and do the same for the x-axis. Now we'll also need to make this logarithmic. We'll go in and format it. We'll make it logarithmic. Let it go from maximum, or I think that can be automatic, and then a minimum of 1. Okay, so there we have the data. I think you could probably go back and have the y a bit smaller, the maximum on the x-axis a bit smaller, like that. And then we need to go and change the look of the different data series to make things look a bit nicer. We'll start by the liquid curve. I'll make that red, I think. So we'll go in and format it. First, changing the marker options to circles, and then having them white in the center. We'll add a line, a solid line, make it red, and then we'll make the line a bit thicker, and then the last thing to do is to change the marker line color to be red too. And that's it for the liquid curve. And then the vapor curve we'll format to. Right click and format data series. And make the marker circles again. Make the fill white. Add a solid line. Make that blue. And make the line a bit thicker, and make the marker line color the same as the line. And then the last series is the saturated curve, and here you can see it's kind of awkward to select that line, so then a good option is to go into the layout banner and then select it from the left corner there. So just select the saturated liquid curve and vapor curve and click format. And we'll have here the circles for the markers. We'll make these gray, I think, and then we'll make the line color the same, gray. Make it the same thickness as the other, and we'll make this dashed. And the marker line color, yeah, that should be okay, it's gray. Okay, so that's it for the data from Payscope and how to create plots in Excel 2010.